2 cups. I'm getting set up here to do a demolding of the gator head. Yeah. And I want to do the first resin casting, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to peel this off. This is the demolding of the crocodile heads here. Let's gently peel this up off of the cardboard, the foam. It doesn't really stick to it. In other words, it won't pull it off in chunks. There might be a little bit that will come loose, like little beads and stuff. But for the most part, it will not adhere to it and compromise the mold. And if we readily pull this away from the mold, we'll have a good thing here. All detailed and everything is kept there. I'm going to take the clay thing right off to the side over here. Now I have my fiberglass shell here. I'll put this in there. So I measured that out. Now there's a little bit of this foam casting that's come off here, but that's okay. Then I have brand new, what I'm using as product is Smooth Cast 300 from Smooth Cast 300. It's going to be the resin casting for this. So what we'll do is we're going to measure, and we'll set this aside here for a minute. We're going to measure in these cups a guesstimate amount of A and B need to go into the mold, and the mixer is here. I need to get a stick real quick, a stir stick. I'm always unprepared in some form or fashion, sometimes with these tutorials, because I don't have all the equipment and everything ready. I'm not a professional, I'm just an amateur doing this. Okay, so you have A and B. You want to measure equal amount of A and equal amounts of B. These have not been opened, so these are brand new product, brand new jugs. Now I'm going to measure A and B in these two and in this one. So you go with A, and we'll look at this without, knowing the volume. I'm going to start off with probably, I will probably go with 8 ounces, just to be safe. So I can put 8 ounces of A into here. Right at 8. And you have 8 ounces of B. This is the B side right here, the blue. And you get about 8 ounces of B. So then you have those two separate right here, A and B. Let's switch them around like that. And you have this cup, and what you want to do is you want to pour in this first. The inside of the cup on this is clean. I just have silicone on the outside from using this as a mixing cup there. And then you have the B compound here. You pour that in there. I'll stir this up and mix it thoroughly. I usually go for about 30 seconds. It's a fairly fast compound, not too fast, so. I'm going to do a high pour off the side, all the way around to eliminate bubbles. And I'm just going to pour some in right now, about half, and just kind of do a slush. What I'm doing is just coating the sides evenly. Making sure that it gets up on where it needs to go. Some of it might dribble out, it's okay. Once you have it all, done in there, you can do that. I just come back to the back corner here and pour in the back. And just let it fill up. Now I know in doing a portion pour of 16 ounces of A and B mix that I'm likely to need exactly the same amount on another pour, because this fills it about halfway up. So, this is how you can do it without having to pour water in your mold and measure it and all that. You can look at it and go, okay, you do 8 ounces one, 8 ounces of B, and mix it together, 16 ounces total. So I can readily mix up another 16 ounces real quick before this cures and add it to it, which is what I'm going to do here. I just have to remember which ones I poured what into what container, because you don't want to mix the same thing. You want to mix the same thing in the same containers, because if you cross-mix and cross-contaminate, it will inhibit your mold a bit. By mixing the curing agents together, and you will have a little bit of a problem. I'm going to readily need some large amounts of this 300. This, what I have now, is not it's not readily enough to make more than, say, 2 or 3 of these things. Okay, so we'll set this aside here, let this start curing. Mix these in here again. In the second cup. You can see it's already starting to kick off. So what I kind of want to do is have this stirred up, mixed up. Some people will do this as it's curing. Some people wait for it to cure and try to pour in the second layer. I will not. I will do this as needed right here to finish it off. Because it can cure together if you pour it quickly enough. It can cure, will cure together. So, and there again, that being another 16 ounces, that's not quite enough. So, I will leave this to set and cure right now. I still have probably about a third of the mold unfinished. So, I will need to mix up yet one more batch of possibly the same amount. I will go with the same amount one more time, just to be sure. Hopefully there's not an overpour on this. So this is going to entail possibly total amount of 16 times 3 is 32, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. My math is kind of bad on sometimes. 16 and 16 is 32. Okay, it's going to be entail 32, 16, 16, 32, plus 16, that's 48. So 48 total ounces of A and B are going to be the estimate needed for one of these sculpts. For one of these molds, sorry. I'm going to go again, just filling it up, and it looks like this will definitely get the entire thing done. There we go, absolutely. Okay, we have exactly 48 ounces of resin needed for this particular mold. So now I know what my total will be. I know the exact amount needed to fill it is 48 ounces from top to bottom. And there's no overspill, there's no overflow or anything like that. So you measure in increments when you want to guesstimate what your mold is. Now, I've been doing this quite a while, so I can kind of look at it and gauge it based on prior experience about how much I'm going to need. Now, this is a lightweight resin. On the Smooth On 300, your working time and curing times are, let me check here, they're different. You have about 3 minutes of pot life and then 10 minutes of cure time. So 3 minutes of mixing. So if I stirred it, I could stir it for up to 3 minutes before it starts setting. This needs to set for 10 minutes. Now I put 3 layers in there. So theoretically it needs to set for 30 minutes because there are 3 different layers that are going to be setting. And I wish you could feel this, but you put your hand over it and you actually feel heat coming off of it. So there is heat. The only thing is I put about 3 layers of silicone on the mold, and I'm hoping I didn't color the different layers. I just put it on there, and I'm hoping, based on the heat intensity of this with the silicone and the mold itself, I'm hoping the fiberglass, the silicone mold is not thin in any spots where it will, the heat will cause a burn effect while it's curing and cause the silicone to stick or anything like that, because the silicone's been out here for a couple of days setting on the mold and curing. So I gave it 48, a little bit more than 48 hours to cure. So hopefully that's enough. And then when this sets in 30 minutes, it hardens and it completely cures. It's already hard. But I can't readily take it off until it's completely cured. Now the whole premise of this is going to be showing you step-by-step instructional videos on this piece. What we're going to be doing is taking and making a resin mold of the crocodile head here. And we're going to be doing water scenes with it, where we're going to take some crystal clear resin and mix up water base and put it in and around the crocodile head, stipple in some water effects and some coloring and that type of thing, and try to make a nice display piece. Now this clay head is rather heavy, so I needed a lightweight resin. If I was going to cast this whole thing in solid resin, I needed a lightweight resin to use, and this being the first casting is going to determine one of two things. It's going to determine whether A, I need to make these just hollow and fill them with foam, or just take, make a portion of it on the sides and make it like a hollow cast. So basically what I'm doing right now is an experimental thing with this first casting. And then the next one I'll probably pour up and use 36 ounces, 2 16 ounces, 36 ounces total, and just do a slush casting and kind of make it all a little thick or hollow in the middle as I need it, because I want something hollow where when I put it on the base, the water base, and the water base will be about the size of the flange. I'm going to either square it off or make it kind of concave like this flange, and that will be clear resin colored, and there'll be bubble effects and such things as that in the resin to make it look like a crocodile head coming out of the water. So that's the overall effect of that. I'm going to let this sit here and cure for 30 minutes. And then when it gets done, I will do an unveiling. And that will be the second portion added to this particular video. So I appreciate you guys watching for the moment. We'll come back in a little bit when this is done. And we will do an unveiling and see how it turns out. Okay, here we are back at the mold bench. It's been a couple of hours. I went inside, had some lunch, passed out in front of the TV. I usually watch TV while I'm eating, so I passed out, had an old man nap. Decided, woke up, kind of came out and go, oh, it's been a couple of hours. That thing's more than cured. So here we are back at the mold bench. We're going to take this thing out. I'm going to take it apart. First, I got to unloosen the bolts here. I have to unloosen my bolt, and let's just come out and puff it out. I will put it down. I'll tighten these back up, so next time I use it I don't have to worry about tightening them back up. First thing I do is get a mold prep immediately for another pour. I may not do one right away, but the next time I don't want to have to go, oh, I forgot to tighten it up and it's loose and, you know, it becomes deformed and whatnot. Now here we are, we just peel this back, peel it away. And like I said, I hope this is thick enough that none of the silicone would stick to it. Some resins sometimes overheat and they get really, the chemical composition in them makes them like get really strong. And I've had it in the past where resin has fused to silicone. The silicone has stuck to it. So I'm hoping this is not the case in this. And that's why I'm very gently pulling this. Oh, wow, this is very nice. Very nice, okay. All right, let's take a look at this, shall we? We'll put this back in the mold. They're ready for next time. Yeah, it's very nice. There's a little bit of silicone that did pull away, but not much. A little bit here, it didn't get stuck. The bottom part I'm very happy with. Because it's flat, I just need to do a little bit of trimming around it, a little Dremel work. But yes, this is very nice. This is going to be perfect. This is going to work very nicely. What I may do, because of the amount of silicone that it took to make this, is I am going to reduce my measurements by half. There's 48 ounces in that thing total to make this. I'm going to cut that down to 36 and maybe even a little less, because what I'm thinking I may have to do, that's not really heavy, but in order to make it a little bit more lightweight and durable, because I still have to create the water base around it. And I don't want it to be, say, more than 5 pounds, because if shipping these things is going to be a lot of money. The more weight you have, the heavier it is, the more it costs to ship. So, what I'm going to be doing next on the part 2 of this video is I will eventually paint these up. I think I'm going to Dremel these eyes out and use real glass eyes. If I can find the right size, I may use real glass eyes for those. I'm going to have to take this down to the taxidermy supply place and show them the size of the eyes and see if they can match them up. But yeah, this was a good casting. Just a little bit of minor cleanup work. Very solid, even though I did 3 layer pours. The reason I did that was because in past times that I've done resin pourings and poured like one and let it cure. There goes my phone. The gimbal was saying I quit. Okay. In the past when I've done this, there have been layer lines. I would pour and they come up so far and then I'll pour another layer less. You could see the lines of separation in the resin in the mold. And it would be very hard to Dremel and you lose detail and that type of thing. So that's why I did that pour the way I did it, because I was afraid that might happen. But it didn't. It turned out really well, really nicely. I'm going to hope this is going to be a nice enough piece when finished that a lot of people might enjoy having a semi-dioramic display. So I'm going to have a line right there, which is where the water is going to be. That was an intentional left-in line. That's exactly where the water is going to come up to. So I have a line actually marked on the form that shows exactly how thick and how deep that water is going to be insofar as the actual mold. So I'm going to probably get started on making the mold casing for that here in the next few days, and of course I'll videotape that process and do that as well. So there's another line right here on the other side. I kind of want to make it equal insofar as the sizes, because I don't want it to be unevenly distributed weight-wise insofar as resin. So I will be doing that. We'll have this a continuing series on YouTube on resin molding and casting and stuff like that. And on the future ones of this, I may do, instead of making these solid, I may take the mold and just do a slush casting and get the inside of the mold done. And then at that point, take what's called chopped fiber. And it's kind of like I'll have to show you. It'll be another tutorial. And it will show a different way of doing resin with filler, with filler fiber. And that will go in the middle of the next one. I can still make a solid piece, but it will be using less resin. Because you will use chopped fiber, and I'll show you exactly what that is, and demonstrate where it can be gotten and that type of thing. So I'm going to do a little cleanup here, and from that we will see you guys on the next episode of Carolina Kiwi Presents. Thank you very much.